And welcome once again. I am the database guy. Yes, you know who I am. And please always like and subscribe. We're at video 6. We're still in our intermediate VBA coding. And we've done a lot of work here. This not last one, but this next one has to do with executing queries with logic. And basically what we're looking at here is we're going to go back to the database and finish some of our coding in at least one part of it, and that's this whole add book. So all we can do is add and cancel. We can't even confirm anything on this. So one of the first things we have in the confirmation code, I'm going to paste some code into here, and we're looking here if not is null, and not is null, and not is null, and so if these four fields, right, have some data in there, then we can do something. They don't have them all in there if one is missing. And we could have used if one field is blank, or another field is blank, or another field is blank, or another field is blank, or null. We could have done that, but you got to be careful with this logic because what happens is you have to make sure it's inclusive. In other words, if 2 or 3 fields are blank, you've got to make sure it triggers. And this is the only one I can think of, all right, to ensure all fields have data in them. Now, we could have used the tag method here as well, looking for anything with a specific tag to see if it were null. And if it is, then go there. It would be very short here, but it would be long, and we would have to add that code somewhere else. So it's up to your pleasure as to what you want to do with that. You could run the tag method, and actually, one of the benefits of the tag method would be I could run it, and I'll show you that in another video, this kind of thing where I could use it for multiple validations. But, you know, one of the challenges with it will be if anything has that tag on it, you've got to make sure that whatever you're validating has that tag. And if it doesn't, it won't validate it. So that's the other side of it. There's trade-offs here. But this one works pretty well. There's only 4 of them, and it works well. So if they're not null, okay, if there's data there, then check the authors area and make sure that that little combo and make sure that we're not missing data there. And remember how we learned this in our previous video. So if is null me subform authors dot form bang, which is the exclamation point CBO authors. So if that's null, you're missing data. Otherwise, we got to do something else. So let's run a little test here. Let's hit confirm, and it says, sorry, you're missing all the data required here. So we're going to let's put in something like 1, 2, 3, 4, X, Y, Z. Hit enter. And as you can see here, we are popping up the intended ISBN for this author. If we hit confirm again, it doesn't like it either. So let's select the publisher. Let's go and do things wildly. And you always should, not in order. And if I put the year in 2010, and I hit a confirm here, once again, we're missing data, and we're going to just write a new book. When we do this, we hit confirm. Now you're missing the author. So let's select an author. And we haven't even added an author to it. Now let's see what happens with confirm. Nothing, right? Confirm is happy, all happy dappy. So what are we going to do here at this point to run this? Well, let's see. We are going to look at our queries and see if, remember, we have a couple of queries that'll append. And what we want to do here in the logic is to ask the user now, are you sure you want to add this record? That's the first thing we want to do here. So again, we could do another if then here. Message box. And what we're going to do here, by the way, is not just say message box. I'm just going to put in just that, put something in there. We're going to put in we need a variable here, dim, yes, as integer, right? Okay. And we're gonna, this is gonna be a little bit different. Remember we had res equals to, and then we in parentheses, rather message box first and then the parenthesis, right? Oh, I'm not even spelling it right. That's why it's not triggering the IntelliSense. There it goes. Do you want to add this new book? Now, comma, we're going to do a VB yes, no, comma, add new book. Now we can get really kinky here because what we could do is we could actually put the name of the book to this, which is what we're actually going to do. Do you want to add and this is what we're going to do here. We're going to, all right, and we're going to have here, whoops, sorry. We're going to concatenate with our ampersand, which is what we use. And then what we're going to do is a VB and a LF for a line feed. And we're going to do another line feed, VB and a line feed, and this, and as a new book. Okay, as a new book. And here's the thing about this now. We're going to have to make sure, because we place this here, if we don't place a space before, or rather after, I'm sorry, and before here, this is going to be crunched right into it. Well, actually, no. Well, it actually will be. Because when we do a line feed, and I should have an ampersand here, I think I did the wrong thing. There we go. So, and I have two, all right, so I'm going to have, do you want to add, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to take this out of here for a minute, comma. So, do you want to add, and then we're going to put this in here. So we're going to, the way we want it to appear is this. Whoops, sorry, we need a separator there, and let's see. Oh, yeah. We've got the ampersand here. So what we're doing here is this. Do you want to add will be on the first line, and the title of the book will be with it. And we're going to go with line feeds, and the next thing, as a new book, will be underneath it. So we're going to debug this, and then we're going to say, remember, we have an if, then we have to have an if then. If res equals VB no, then we can say, spelling it wrong, exit sub. Else, do something. And we haven't gotten to that yet. And then the other thing is an end if, right? So, good. All right. Spelling it wrong again. Keep typing things in the wrong way here. All right. Here we go. So, let's save it so we don't have any issues. Now, let's see what happens. Now, new book. And we're going to say no. And I want to just see if we can clean this up. Since we're on the second line, the space we don't have to have here, we're going to say as a new book with the, and we're going to put author, and because it knows. Yeah, that's good. All right. So let's, yeah, the space before here is not needed because it's on another line. If I were putting it in between, it would need that. Let's see what it does. Yeah. So this is pretty cool. And even if we say yes, nothing will happen. So now, here's the question now as to what we do when we say yes. All right. So we need to do a couple of things. We need to run append queries. And we need to look here. So let's look at this one. Let's see where it's going to go. Table book. So this one here is going to be our append query. We go into design view, we're going to see that right there. So that query we need. No, we don't want to save those changes. And the author, let's go into design view there. Yeah, and here, let's look and see if we see the author there, and we in fact do. So what we got to do is run those two queries, but we also have to do something else. We've got to delete the data once we run it, and then we've got to requery all the forms, right? So one of the first things we have to do here is, remember our do command we learned about? Set warnings false. We don't want to have any warnings there. Then we're going to have do command, no, we're going to have db execute. I believe it's called db execute. So let me actually run a do command, set warnings, and we want to have that one as true. Between these lines, what we're going to have here is, I think it's db execute. Let me make sure. Let's, the coding on it is, well, let's see if it's do command dot, it's not an open query, by the way. It's actually going to be, and I'm going to go to another database just to confirm it, because I don't want to give you the wrong coding. Let me go into my Visual Basic. So let's see. Should be in here. Let's see. Control F, and we want to do the current project. There is an execute somewhere. There it is. Okay, so it's db execute. It is. I thought it was. So we're going to copy this for a moment. And the code to run, close that too. The code to run is db execute. Now, IntelliSense, as you know, didn't pop anything up. And it's one of these strange things. And what we're going to do here is we're going to have to put in, the first one is the book. So we're going to go to our rename and copy this, control copy it and let it go. And we're going to put it in here. And the second one, obviously, is the author's. So we're going to just copy this. And why IntelliSense doesn't pop up here? I wonder if it has to do with set db equal to current database. And I think it might be. I got to put that after this. And that's probably what it is. I have it in the other one. I don't have it here. So let's see now what happens if we get a db execute. No, we don't get anything. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. Well, actually, I'll tell you why it doesn't matter, because we're not defining this either. This should be comma db as DAO database. So let's see now what we come up with now. We should see something now. There it is. There's the execute. All right, so we need to have that in there. We really do need to have that there. And so what we need to do is first have the database variable declared and then set it to the current database, which is what I probably had. And actually, let's copy and paste our, because what's going to happen is it's going to give me a variable not found. Author. No, not design view. We want to rename and get the name of that and copy it. There it is. All right. So I'm going to bring that in here too. Right. So, and then we've got to do, nope, db.execute. And we're also going to then, okay, let's see, the two delete ones. So, yeah, that's the one we want. Rename, copy that. So we're running 4 queries here. Is there an easier way to do this? No. Unfortunately, no, there isn't. These lines have to go in the way they have to go, right? And now here, we want to set this one to, and I want to make sure I get the right name. So again, I'm going to hit rename, control copy, and bring that in. So our 4 of them are 4 queries. So we're basically going to append our data first, and then we're going to delete it. Now, we didn't check to see if the book existed. So keep that in mind. We haven't done that yet. That's going to be a little more advanced on the coding side. And then, while we're at it, right? So we're going to then say me.sf booksde.requery. We're going to, whoops, sorry about that. Control Z. Dot, boy, I am bad here. Dot requery, there we go. And the other one we need to requery, we actually need to requery all of them. Whoops, oh boy. All of these subforms. And, ooh, I'm just jumping these keys over here. And okay, let IntelliSense do the work. And the last one, the authors, yeah, dot requery. So if we look at this code now, we're basically appending, okay, then we're deleting, and then we're requerying everything. So let's do a debug, compile, save, yeah, good. So this should work out pretty well. We should be able to requery the 3 subforms after we execute everything, and let's just see how that's going to work. It's going to ask me, and let's see what it does. And, oh, we forgot to requery one of the forms. We forgot to requery a very important one, and the main form. That's why we're seeing this. Good to always check this, so there we go. So we're going to do this again, and we forgot even another part of this too, all right, which was, so we also have to have me form dot requery. We forgot the main form itself, and then what we have to do, which we hadn't done up here, right, is to hide these and then to activate these. So what we then need to do is, and it's really simple, right? Remember when we clicked add, right? That's add author, book author, right? That's the one. And this is cancel. Well, all we need to do here, oh, and the cancel one here, is to run this, right? So we need to then underneath here, set everything back. Now you may say, well, what if I want to keep adding books? So we're going to basically, right, we're going to basically enable that, set the focus on it, and then tag everything off. So let's go here and let's see what happens. Now, as I said, so I'm going to try 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 5, XYZ. I'm going to go there, and our title is second book, and our year is 2011, let's say, and our publisher is going to be 1. And if I hit confirm here, I'm not missing an author, of course. So I'm going to now pick an author, confirm it, and let's see what happens. And there we go, and everything goes back to normal. Now let's check our books out here. So test book 1, we have to hit it over here. Whoa, can't find All right, so we're going to look at this here and see why that's the case. I'm sorry, why it's doing this. John O'Shea, it's picking up the right author there. Let's see the second book. Let's go to debug. And, oh, um, oh, I see. It's failing on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to just, for right now, uncomment that. We'll figure out why it's failing, but it obviously is failing for a reason. So, yeah. Wow. So it's giving me the last one. Me parent label author. All right. I think what we need to do in this one here is use the forms method for it because we're not in, remember, we're from a subform to a subform, and that's why it's erroring out. So we need to go back and look at not being in it. So in other words, going to our little thing here, if we're not, let's see, control, so it's not me. Let's see, control, here it is. Forms, main form, control, so we're not in these forms, and we're referring to a subform. So main form, subform, control name is what we need. Let's do a quick copy on this and fill it in, and we should be fine. And that's the reason why that's failing, all right? So forms and the main form name will be what? Let's see, it will be DE main. Let's see. DE main, and the subform, of course, is, yeah, subform authors. And you can see the query is correct. I couldn't use the parent form. And then, of course, the name of the control will be LBL author. And then, of course, dot caption equals. And then we're going to put this in here. Yeah, I know. It's looking for an expression. Okay. And let's see. All right, so Pile will save it, and let's see if it changes correctly. That parent one we can't do because we're going from a subform here to a subform here. So let's see. Cannot find the form DE main. Oh, I'm sorry, form DE main. Again, there it is, and this is a literal for it. So we have to have form DE main. And again, this is how you troubleshoot things. Gotta make sure you're referring to the correct ones. All right, we're good there. Our second book, good there. And our new book and our test. All right, so we're good. And so we're going to get rid of this here. We can't do it with this because we're not going from parent to subform in this case. Let me just see one thing here. Something that's pretty large, the pit and the pendulum. Right, so we may have to fix the font on that or make it smaller, whatever the case may be. It's a little bit large, or open this up a little bit, in either way. So you saw how we did this, and I'm going to just save this. All right, one of the things we did not do, by the way, let's just close this again and open it back up, our main form. Main. This here is not inactivated, and it probably needs to be. So when we open it up, we're going to do that. And actually, it's interesting that none of these were deactivated either. So they should have been. see, enabled should be no. And probably the error is what was causing it. And here is probably a similar thing too. Just go to my code for my ISBN. Go to DE main, see here. So I am enabling both of them. Okay. So both of them were. So we're going to do here. Now why? I think it was probably, again. So let's go to our table and let's get rid of the two we just entered. Table books. And remember, if we go to the new book, we see that connection. So we're going to get rid of that. Yeah, and we're going to get rid of this second book as well. And we're going to give this one more test to see how we've done. And again, we haven't checked if the book exists. That's a whole nother thing. Okay, so, yeah, and look what happened here. These here now are visible. So I guess the error set things off and it didn't fully allow the code to run. Visible's not there, it's here. Visible, no. And enabled over here is yes. Okay. Save it, yeah. We open it up and we're back to square one. So let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, X, X, Y. And new book. And 2020. And a publisher. 3. Let's see what happens when we try to confirm it. Obviously, we're missing the author. We need at least one. Let's try Herman Melville. Confirm it. You sure you want to add this? Yes, we do. And it went away. And everything went away except this was not deactivated. So let's see what happens when we close this. By the way, we don't have an exit on this one. And we're back to where we should be now. This one here, we need to deactivate too. So what we do here there is it's pretty simple, right? We go to our ISBN where we inactivated it. Okay. These three here, all right. And what we do is we come over here, all right. We'll run it right after here, right? So we're going to now, we got to be careful here. We're going to place, well, we don't need to worry about this so much because when we requery, it'll go blank. So these here are going to be false and false, not true. And actually, I don't think it will give me that because they're not Booleans. We'll do it. There we go. All right. Pile. So now we should be, everything should work perfectly now, with exception. So we're going to try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, X, X, Y, Z. And really what I should be checking for is the ISBN. We're going to go second book. All right. I didn't even spell that one right. I just jump it fast. I'm typing too quickly. And we're going to make this one 2011. And the publisher is going to be a different publisher here. We'll go at 1. Oh, we don't have an author. We need to have the author there. So let's go with Agatha. We go to confirm. Are you sure? And, okay, what happened? Let's see. Did I get the code right? Oh, wait a minute. Wait, let's see. Is it a combo or is it a CBO on that one? Let's just see here. See what the name of this control is. No, it's CBO author, it's not text. So So let me see why that came up that way here. I see. I see. The ID, we forgot one of them in here. So, yeah, that's the ID number. So let's put that in too. We're going to put that in after here. And this is going to be false. So there were 3 fields there, right? There is our CBO author. There is our ISBN number, and there's the ID number, which we don't need to worry about, but we should, for completeness, work that into it. Now, I'm going to close this for a minute and delete the 2 new books from there. Books. Yeah, let's get rid of both of these. And the good news about this is we're not auto numbering, so it makes sense. So what we're going to do now is going to add a real book, something real for our final, before we close out for today. And again, as I said, I'm going to run 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, X, Y, Z. And the title is going to be Bleak House. All right, a very well-known one. And I spelled that wrong too. Boy, how many typing letters? And the year, I don't know, 1885, we'll say. We'll guess on the year and the publisher, of course. We'll do, let's see. All right, we'll just do publisher 2, since we don't see enough of publisher 2 there. If we hit confirm, hey, we don't have an author there. We're going to choose, of course, Dickens wrote Bleak House. We're going to confirm that and go yes, and there we are. Now, we're not showing the AID, that the book author AID, which is no big deal. Let's go to Bleak House. And as you know here, I can't edit this, I can only see it, but I've put this in parentheses, quotes rather, which isn't necessary. And we're going to get to editing, how to edit something as well, how to delete something as well. So this is the inactivate button, and this is the edit button. We don't have a deletion on here. Pardon me. And there's nothing to activate here either. So we didn't even have a it should not even come up. So we have to have code there to say if it's blank, don't open it. So what we've learned from here now, and by the way, we have one more thing to do before we do close out. This cancel button here, which we did, but the cancel button, you might guess, what happens if the user is adding information to it, right? So the cancel button as it stands, right? Let's see where it is. Title. This is our confirm. Okay, so our cancel, all our cancel is doing right now is it is saying, look, I'm just going to enable the button, run the tag, and all of that stuff. What I have to do here is I have to put this stuff underneath as well, right? To disable it. If that's the case, it may not even be the case, right? So we're going to put that there. So in case it is active, all right, and then we're going to have to, while we're at it, okay, we're going to have to run our requeries to everything. So we have 4 of them here, just as a matter of safety on this. So we're going to run those as well, okay. And we're going to run them. We're going to have to be careful here, because what we're going to do, we got to ask the user if they want to do this. So we're going to, from here, take our same bit of variables, and we're going to do the set as well on this. And since we're running the same, and this is why it's so kind of easy, then we're going to say, let's see. All right, we're going to grab this. And we're going to place this here. We got to rename stuff. So, are you sure? Just going to say, are you sure you want to cancel adding a new book? Just that is enough. And we're going to get rid of all of this. And we're going to say cancel, add new book. If it's no, you exit the sub, and if it's else yes, then we're going to do the deletes on these. Okay, and then we got to have the do command execute. Oops, sorry, do command dot execute dot set warnings. I'm sorry. Set warnings true. All right, and then we're going to have our end if here, and then then we're going to also not have the end if exactly. What's only to happen if we're exiting out. Whoops, sorry. Whoop. Right. Okay, and then the end if. Right, let's see if we debug this. No issues with it. Now, on this one here, you notice we kept everything within the end if. In other words, if we didn't, it would run it regardless. It would requery and do everything regardless. It would set things, enable and disable things regardless. So, whoops, I just hit Excel. Sorry about that. So we come back here. If I say no, I'm going to stay here. And if I say yes, I go right back to everything and I requery everything. Now let's see what happens if I add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, PXY, and I add a publisher and all of this, okay, and an author. Yeah. And it deletes it all, it gets rid of it all, boom, it sets it right back to 0, nothing's there. Go to the tables, the temporary ones, we all open them and they're blank, which is what they should be, all right? Now canceling is easy, all right? It's easy. Let's add everything. Time machine. Doesn't matter what publisher we choose. To and the author. We don't have the author here, which is H.G. Wells, but we'll. Now, if I say cancel and it says yes, and it just wipes everything out and goes right back to square one, which is what we want. So, what we learned here is how to set flow and ensure. And the first thing is, obviously, we have to activate the fields we need to use. And while we're at this, what we're going to do here is just hide this one here. And we don't need to see that. For now, anyway. There it goes. Come on, go to no. There we go. Save it. Come back in. All right. So what we understand is too that when we add a book and we want to check to make sure the author is there. We don't want to add a book without an author. Now you could do that. You really could, but then you wouldn't activate the author field. It really depends upon your business requirements. I would think you would need to add at least one author to the book. We haven't now put a key in for a second or third or fourth author. That'll come later. Okay, I know we have the add author here, but it does nothing. Now, that key is going to be the key we're probably going to program. What we're gonna do, I think, is we're gonna move that key to the top area instead of leaving it here, because the idea is we don't need to add an author to the bottom. We could, but I don't think you should do that. I think you should edit authors or delete them and add them at the top, which is what we could do. We had to look at that and decide how we want to proceed. And then, of course, the inactivate and deactivate, something like that, which we did, is not programmed. And of course, the activate book is also not. It's programmed to activate the book from inactivate, but we haven't. We have to program all of those buttons and write the code for editing and so on. Now, editing, the only difference between editing and adding a new book is the queries we're going to run, right? Because we're going to put in the book we've selected, all right? And then what we do is we deactivate the edit button, so we can't edit another book at the same time. And then once we complete that, we'll activate those edit buttons back up to the way they should be. Inactivate is different. And then we have delete an author or edit an author is another portion. Now you might ask, well, I don't see delete a book. We could probably add that one in as well, but we will see when we finish off on this. Right, our steps are this. Activate, enable controls, or make them visible or enable them that we need to use. Fill in those controls, make sure they're validated, and make sure everything exists. Then, if it does exist, ask the user if they want to add the book or commence with the action. If they don't, just cancel out of it. Because you can always go, right? I can always go to cancel adding the book. Confirm, obviously here it's not going to work, but confirm when everything is in there will say, do you want to add this book? If you say no, it'll just sit where it sits. Then you can go to cancel and cancel out. Now, I don't want to ever have a situation where when you say I don't want to add the book, it cancels everything out, because that's not what really happens in the real world. All right, you want to make sure that the user forces a deliberate action. And so once you do that, once you confirm the user wants to proceed with adding something like a book here, you run all the queries to append. And we didn't check, by the way, if the book exists. All right, even if the title exists, we haven't checked that yet. So we don't worry about the year or even the publisher. That's going to have to be the due diligence of the user. All right, we can't really worry about that because we're going to find years and we're going to find publishers that could ideally be the same. But the ISBN and the title should not be the same, but it could be. And we could say, well, we found one. Do you still want to add it? And the answer could be yes. Maybe it's a different edition or something like that. And it can happen. And with the author, it's the same thing too. We have to confirm that, well, the author already exists. If you're going to add it, sorry, you can't add that author. So, takeaway from this here now, really seemed like a lot of code, but it's not. We're using a lot of the me. We're using the tag, the do command that we learned. We just learned this db execute, which is important to know db execute, which has to do with basically we set the db variable as a database variable. We set it to the current database. Then we can run the execute function. We could have run current database.execute just to show that to you. current DB dot execute, and you would find it. But sometimes it's easier to run with variables like this. Just work simply without typing too much code and get it in. And the names of these queries have to be correct. Now you notice in the cancel, where they're using only delete queries. So it's not append queries. We want to wipe out the data. We want to requery all of the subforms and the main form. Enable things back, set the focus, check the tag, make sure we re-enable stuff that needs to be enabled, and then go to subforms and enable stuff that needs to be enabled as well. And the me works there fine. And then, of course, on the confirm side, we're now executing append queries as well as delete queries. We're requerying everything again. We're going to then re-enable certain things and disable other things and be able to set the form back to square one. Now, the other one that I had showed you that flagged us with an error, see if I remember where it was. It was a subform within this. Oh, it's the books one here. Here. So here, again, we can't use, we're going from subform to subform. You cannot use that parent because it's looking to the parent form. It doesn't find the control. I should have realized that when I was changing things. I mean, you can reference a parent sub control in a parent form, but it has to be there, right? And that's the little twist with VBA code. Whenever you're referencing items, they must exist and they must be there and they must be named properly. So we're really in a good spot now with our database here. We just have to do some checking to make sure an ISBN or title or author doesn't already exist. But the author part comes from really adding an author or even editing the author. And then, of course, editing a book comes into play, and inactivating a book. We don't even have a cancel. We don't even have a close button on here. Well, actually, it wouldn't be a close. It might be a quit. Well, it actually would be a close, not a quit. I'm not worried about that right now. You'll see how that works out in other apps if I don't do it here. And also, while we're on the subject here, we're just in one form. When we get to the advanced VBA code, you're going to learn about navigational forms as well as about writing your own custom ribbons. The ribbon is what you see at the top here, file, home, create, and so on. You can actually write your own ribbons to get to functionality. It depends what your end user wants. All right. So in any event, as always, please like and subscribe. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope I've done a good job here. I've left Bleak House, by the way, in quotes, but and that's for a good reason, because when we go to edit, I want to show you how that happens and how we can edit and how we can change things. So as I say, like and subscribe. Stick with me. Have a great day, evening, morning, night, wherever you are. Have a great life, and keep going with your developing.